Mustang fans, are you ready?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Four for the first down, won't need it. It's going to be another Mustang touchdown.
The following is a West Jones High School presentation of the Mustang Network.
He's going the other way. It's a live football. It's going to be a touchdown for the Mustangs.
They answered a call. They brought the juice the whole season. We got great kids that's going to work hard and make our community proud.
And that is a 62-yard touchdown for the West Jones Mustangs.
The West Jones Mustangs finish off a 14-0 season and are state champions once again.
And welcome in, Mustang fans. After a couple of weeks off, we're back here with the West Jones Mustang Football Coaches Show, sponsored by Wayne Sanderson Farms and Hills In-House Jewelers. This morning, we have in the studio, I should say tonight, we have in the studio with us head football coach and athletic director Corey Reynolds. Coach, it's always great having you in with us. And since the last time we've talked, we've played a few games, all right, and just a couple of things to note there. That first game that we played at South Jones, okay, we come off of a great start to the season, wins over Laurel, Northeast Jones at home. First time we really go on the road this season, go down to South Jones, and, man, we drop a heartbreaker down there. I believe that final score is, 38-35. Back and forth game that saw both teams kind of try to take momentum, and then in the last minute of the game, you kind of had a feeling that, you know, whoever had the ball last with any meaningful amount of time left on the clock would come out on top in that one. And unfortunately, South Jones scored with about 20 seconds left on the clock to go ahead 38-35 and to come away with a win. Coach, kind of recap that game for us and let us know your feelings on that. A tough one, a heartbreaker that we dropped there. Season's not over, but definitely one that our kids look forward to every year, and a game that, you know, has a lot of countywide implications. But recap that game for us and let us know what you're thinking about that one.
That was a big game for us. Going into it, we knew South's a whole lot better. Coach Harrington's got those kids playing hard. Quarterback's good. Their running backs, receivers are good. Defensively, they're flying around. We knew, we were going to have our hands full, and we would have to play our best game. Kind of going in with a little bit of heavy hearts. It was a year of passing Mr. Pope, and so that was kind of weighing heavy on us. Going in, it was a great game for the fans. For us, it was back and forth. We scored late to go up, and then once again, they come right back down the field. They made plays, and we didn't at the end, and made two really big throws and catches on that last drive. Just went and made plays. It wasn't like we had blown coverages or guys were out of place. They just went and made plays, and then scored a big touchdown late. Like I said, it's not the end of the season. It was a big county rival. Not taking anything away from South. Boy, they got up and got ready to play for us, and just told our kids, remember what this tastes like. Don't spit that out. We need to get back. We're gonna go back and watch film. It's gonna be the little things that we go back and point out that caused us to be where we're supposed to be. Very proud of our guys offensively. Kind of got on track, scoring some points. Defense, we made some great plays. Leo had some great punts. Kind of flip field position, so we played good enough to win, but over the course of a game, there's going to be 6 to 7 plays that determine it. And those 6 to 7 that we needed to make, we didn't, and they did, and that's kind of how the season goes, kind of how life goes. And went back and watched the film and got some things corrected, and then got ready for the next week.
Yeah, turns out they made one more play with the ball than we did, and came out with that 38-35. And like I said, it's not the end of the year. You preach to your kids, keep that taste in your mouth. Make it hungry for the rest of the year. And then you come home, such a awesome thing to have 3 of your first 4 games on your home field. But you come home for homecoming. Always a week with a lot of distractions, a lot of dress-up days here at the school, spirit days, a lot of things going on. Your pregame is affected by having homecoming festivities on the field. But you come home with a team in North Pike that is a little bit better than their record indicates. Those guys play hard. They're small, but they're scrappy. They play tough. But you come out with a win there on homecoming. I thought you played well in all facets of the game. Recap that North Pike game for us and kind of what that game looked like to you from your perspective.
I was really, really interested to see how the kids handled that week. Like you said, it's homecoming. Man, we do such a good job here getting our kids involved, getting the elementaries involved in things. It's if you're a student and on campus here, we do a lot of good things here. And it makes it fun, makes it where you want to be a part of this community, be a part of this school. And it was a lot of fun. I was wanting to see how the kids, still be a kid, handled the distractions well. We had a great week of practice. It did not carry over into that. There was no really a hangover of not practicing well. We showed back up, watched the film on Sunday, practice hard Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, watch the film, practice and of North Pike. I thought our kids got really locked in, really excited about how they handled, taking your first loss of the season, and taking the loss like it was. It was a close game, hard-fought game, physical. I thought our kids had a great week of practice. They rebounded very, very well. Our leaders led. Our young guys got in with it and, ended up winning 35-6, had a really good game. Once again, offense, we're kind of clicking pretty good right now, throwing the football. Caleb had a great job running the ball, and all that's because of those 5 guys up front getting after it. Defensively, played some younger kids, kind of due to some injuries that they got some meaningful snaps in a big-time game, not just mop up where we're up or down a whole bunch. Very, very happy about how they come in and got their opportunities. Still had some growing pains, still got some things we got to learn, but each and every week, our goal is to be 1-0, and that's what we were that week. I told them homecoming don't mean anything if you don't win the game.
Right.
And so very, very proud of how they responded that week. That was big for us and our coaching staff just to see how we were going to come back. Was it going to be a big layover, dragging around, or are we going to forget about it, know what we did wrong, and let's get back on the winning track?
Right, you did. 35-6, the final score. There were several opportunities there. You could have scored a few more. But, hey, you always want to take it easy on those guys, especially when you're up, and try to put that game away and move on to the next week. You go back on the road. All right, this past week you take that as a homecoming of sorts for you. You take that 30-mile drive over to Waynesboro and to take on the War Eagles, another team whose record is not indicative as to how good that they are. Their offense, is very explosive, and we saw that in the early going into that game. It was a back-and-forth game there. They scored, their first drive of the game, go up on us, 7-0. We come back and we score, 21 unanswered, take a 21-7 lead into the break, and then after halftime, it turned into a shootout, back and forth. We would, go up 14, they would score to get it within 7. Go up 14, they would score to get it. And at one point, I believe we had it in the fourth quarter, 49-28 at one point. And then those guys just flipped on a switch, man. I knew they had a rough week out there with some things that had gone on. And those guys really wanted to show their community that they were all in for their school. It's a big game for them every year. I mean, I don't care what the records are. You can throw those out the window. When West Jones and Wayne County get together, it's going to be a slugfest.
Yep.
And those guys, I know you don't like, we don't like to give credit to the opponent a lot, but those guys played hard right there in the fourth quarter. They never gave up and scored with 21 seconds, got a 2-point conversion to get it 49-48. And then if not for a lucky swat on an onside kick attempt to get the ball out of bounds, there could have been some trouble there in Waynesboro Friday night. We're kind of recap that ball game and some things, some highs and lows that you saw.
It's always good to play a team like that. The first 3 we played are county rivals, and that's kind of some bragging rights. And then you play this rival that goes back, 20-plus years. We've referenced it in years past. I was a freshman the first year, we played over here at West, and my sophomore year, it was two close games, a one-score game, both. So, the history part of it, I'm glad I got to be a part of it. And then, with the us versus y'all series, it was at the heyday, and it was some really great teams on both sides of the, of the spectrum of it, from, being in Wayne County and West Jones. And so that part of it, that's still there. Some of those guys still remember it. It's always good to kind of go back from, especially where you're from, to see how things look, how things used to be, and you kind of remember in your head like, oh wow, that was a whole lot longer ago than I actually do remember. And then too, once again, we're playing a team that hadn't won a game, but man, they're a whole lot better than their record indicates, because they're playing top quality teams and they're getting themselves ready for district play. And offensively, boy, they're very explosive. Got some really good receivers and running backs. They had 2 quarterbacks they used that was different that we had to prepare for. One, we knocked him out for a little bit, and the other one come in, and they really didn't lose anything. Defensively, they kind of got some injuries and some guys out that they were missing. And, we responded very well. Opening drive, they scored. We come back and scored 3 quick ones. And then, just the game settled into what it was. And like you said, one point we're up 42-20 and then 49-28. And then some onside kicks and some things happened, made it a whole lot more interesting than it needed to be from our standpoint. But once again, we had some kids playing out there due to injuries that were getting some meaningful reps, some good playing time that, we're going to need them to play, and we'll get some guys back from injury, it'll clean up some of those things. And, it's kind of funny how the ball rolls, ball bounces. That first onside kick really wasn't meant to be an onside kick for them, and they stole a possession back, and I think we only punted once late at the end. Just we didn't do a good job taking care of the football right there at the end. We're trying to, bleed the clock out, and like I said, we're up. We don't want to take any more chances. We got the rest of our season, and then it's funny how games like that, take form, and it's some of them games you're glad you don't have hair.
Yeah, and you made, reference to injuries. We're down 4 or 5 starters on our defensive side of the ball at any point. You lose Hudson in the South Jones game to just, that devastating injury. And then, you lost several more. Keegan went out, I believe, was at the Laurel game. He went out. He's not played since. Several of our guys out. Tripp goes down. Van Fossen goes down early in the Wayne County game. And you're glad that O'Keyshawn Twilley is back to fill that spot, him and Dante. And, you're looking at an injury-riddled defense, but the one thing that you said is you got guys in there now that are getting some reps and that can fill in on that next man up mentality. When somebody goes down, you're creating depth there due to some of these injuries, and when your big guys up front get back, and some of these injured players get back, you've got some depth on that depth chart you can rely on in district play. And
that's going to be important, because it's not if, it's when those injuries happen. And we preach all the time, if you're ready, you don't have to get ready. And so, as a young player, sometimes that's hard, because you're looking up and you're kind of 2 or 3 down on the depth chart, and it takes an elbow injury, it takes a suspension, it takes a bad knee or whatever, and now you're the guy. And if you haven't been preparing, you haven't been working, you're going to be in a bad bind, and you're going to put us in a bind. And that's what's so important about being a team, is being ready at all times.
Right. You preach doing your job. Doing your job. Well, speaking of doing your job, we're going to do ours. We're going to step out to a commercial break right now, pay some of our bills here. You're listening to the West Jones Mustang Football Coaches Show, sponsored by Wayne Sanderson Farms and Hills In-House Jewelers.
Hey Marty, what you get?
All nays again, Marty? That's so not fair.
Hi, I'm Connor Holdfield. I'm a member of the FCA lead team here at West Jones, and I just wanted to take a second to invite you all to FCA Tuesdays at 7:25 in the gym. All are welcome every Tuesday, 7:25. We'd love to see y'all there.
From the heart of Laurel, Mississippi comes Wayne Sanderson Farms, proudly serving families across the globe. Formed from two leading poultry companies with humble roots in farm supply and feed manufacturing, Wayne Sanderson Farms is built on over a century's worth of industry expertise. This trusted name has grown into the third largest poultry producer in America, committed to excellence, affordability, and quality you can taste. With local roots and a global reach, Wayne Sanderson Farms is the official chicken of the SEC, bringing good, honest chicken to every table. Choose the farm that feeds with integrity. Choose Wayne Sanderson Farms.
Looking for the perfect ring or a trusted jeweler? Hill's In-House Jewelers has you covered. Owned by Laurel natives Jeff and Courtney Hill, they've been serving the community since 2010. From engagement rings to fine jewelry, custom designs to expert repairs, every piece is crafted and cared for on-site, never mailed out. Discover the largest selection of bridal jewelry in Laurel, right here at 1104 Sawmill Road. Hill's In-House Jewelers, all the sparkle, all in-house.
And welcome back to the West Jones Mustang Football Coaches Show, sponsored by Wayne Sanderson Farms and Hill's In-House Jewelers. Again, I'm Rich Gray, the voice of the Mustangs, and we're blessed to be joined in studio right now by West Jones quarterback Tootie Lindsey. Man, Tootie, we're glad you could join us tonight, I should say, in studio and discuss a little bit about Mustang football.
I mean, you know, I just always been a part of West Jones football. I mean, since I've been growing up, my brother's been playing here, you know. It's just been a blessing just to be a part of this community.
That's right. Tootie, you come in, you get a lot of meaningful snaps as an eighth grader. You come and play wide receiver. Kind of tell us a little bit about what that was like, because your brother at that point in time was our starting quarterback, Marlon, and you come in, you play wide receiver. What was that like to just have that connection on the field with your brother, and especially as an eighth grader getting a lot of playing time?
And that moment, I will never forget that moment. That's just the best moment of my life, just having that connection with my brother on the high school football field. You know, I know multiple people want that connection, you know, but, like, I'll never forget that connection.
That's awesome, you know, to look out and, you know, from the press box vantage point, calling Lindsey's pass completed to Lindsey and just having everybody look around. I mean, seeing two brothers playing together on the field, and you've had that connection since, you know, childhood. And now you get to translate it into wearing the green and gold. Now, you step in as a ninth grader, all right, as QB1. You step in as a ninth grader, and that's the year that will be referenced, you know, throughout history of West Jones High School as that 2023 team. You step in as a freshman, as the starting quarterback, and you carry your team to a state championship. And then from then on, I mean, expectations are through the roof, obviously. But what's it like? All right, I ask every one of our student athletes as they're on our show, but what's it like to come out of that locker room on a Friday night home game, all right, and to see the crowd just pouring in? What does that do for you from an athlete perspective, from a mindset of getting ready to play a football game and you know, put on for your community?
I mean, you know, they just come out, show their love for it. So, like, I come out, you know, just come out prepared, come out for the win, just being my best talent.
All right. And, you know, getting kind of back on track here, but this Friday night, okay, tomorrow night, you travel down to Petal, we travel to play a big game, okay, against the Petal Panthers, 7A. All right, a very good 7A team. All right, last game before district play begins. What are some things that you think that we need to do on the field tomorrow night to be successful and come out of Petal with a win?
Everybody has a job. Execute every play. Don't take no plays off. Just come out ready to play.
Come out ready to play ball and get ready to get ready for district play. Now, as we enter district play, there's some games in there that are kind of circled on our calendar. George County, all right, next week. George County, those guys, man, we owe them a little bit. They come in here last year, they knock us out first round of the playoffs, left a bad taste in our mouth. All right, how do you get your mind right to play a game this Friday night, all right, versus Petal, knowing that George County is still to come on the schedule next week, and not overlook that 7A opponent looking forward to district play? How do you prepare for that and to keep yourself motivated to go out this Friday night and come away with a win?
I mean, just treat every game like the next game, like the best game. So just coming out, preparing all week, and just execute.
Execution is key, and we'll have George County. That'll be the last road game for a week or so, and then we'll return home and kind of give Mustang Nation a message for that first home game back after we play the stretch of 3 road games. Kind of guide them through that and let them know what we expect to see at that next home game here on October the 17th.
Man, the stands full, the sidewalks full, just like I always be every home game. We want the stands full.
All right, one last question. All right, as a junior, as QB1, all right, what does it mean for you to be a West Jones Mustang?
I mean, it just means everything. Like I said at the beginning, I've been a Mustang since I was a little kid. I just love being a Mustang. I'm always been a Mustang.
All right. Well, thank you, Tootie, for joining us in studio tonight. We'll be back here in just a few minutes with head coach Corey Reynolds as we look forward to the Petal game this week, and we'll preview the George County game as well the week after and talk a little bit about what we need to do in both games to come out successful. We're going to go pay some more bills. We'll be back in just a few minutes on the West Jones Mustang Football Coaches Show, sponsored by Wayne Sanderson Farms and Hills In-House Jewelers.
Looking for the perfect ring or a trusted jeweler? Hill's In-House Jewelers has you covered. Owned by Laurel natives Jeff and Courtney Hill, they've been serving the community since 2010. From engagement rings to fine jewelry, custom designs to expert repairs, every piece is crafted and cared for on site, never mailed out. Discover the largest selection of bridal jewelry in Laurel, right here at 1104 Sawmill Road. Hill's In-House Jewelers, all the sparkle, all in-house.
Mustang Network tryouts were tough, mostly on the equipment.
Stay on.
How's the school year going?
Officer Gilson, I need you right now. This student has just hit me.
I'm Van Albert, and I'm live from the new
Hello, West Jones, and I'm...
Wait, we need an interview. What's your name?
Being a part of the Mustang
Off your mouth.
Being a part of the Mustang Network is so much fun.
Today I'm here with Dr. Rogers. How are you today?
Dr. Rod, that's not my name.
Hi, and welcome to the Mustang Network.
I'm on my way, Miss Bell.
After careful consideration, I've decided to take my sponsorship talent to the SEC. Nope. Sorry, this would have been a lot cooler if I could actually put this hat on my head. Sanderson Farms, official chicken of the SEC.
I love the kids. I have several siblings of students that I've taught throughout the years, and so it's great to see full circle how some of these kids have come from their siblings. I love being from West Jones because a lot of my kids, former and current, I get to see out in the community. They work at the restaurants, the businesses. A lot of them come to the sporting events that my own children play in, And so it's a sense of community, whether you're at the school or outside the school, because we see each other and we support each other. And my kids know that I love them and I love seeing them succeed inside of school and outside of school.
And welcome back to the West Jones Mustang Football Coaches Show, sponsored by Wayne Sanderson Farms and Hills In-House Jewelers. Glad to have Coach Corey Reynolds back in studio, and a special thank you to our quarterback, Tootie Lindsey, for joining us earlier in tonight's show. But Coach Reynolds, just a couple of things. This week, as we go on the road to take on the Petal Panthers, this is another game that means a lot to you with a mentor and Coach Marcus Bowles down there, just a legend in Mississippi high school coaching, and he's got the Panthers off to a good start. Tell us a little bit about Petal and what to expect there this Friday night.
Well, I guess of my 25 years of teaching and coaching, 14 of them have been there, and still live there. Kids go to school there. Very, very special place. One good thing about the coaching staff there with Coach Bowles is, like you said, he's a legendary coach, Hall of Fame coach, demands excellence. You better be ready to play when you suit up for him. And even better was the coaching staff that's been there, while I was there, 2 different stints, the ones that's been there right now. Boy, they really prepare the kids well. You look on film, it's hard to find any lapse of getting lined up, knowing what to do, being where you're supposed to be. They play hard. They get to the football on defense. Offensively, a lot of the things I tell our kids here is the things that, developed over the years from coaching there is, hey, we got to get a hat on a hat and execute the play. And they do a very, very good job of that. Coach Holman, the offensive line coach, is a huge friend of mine and does a very, very good job of getting those guys prepared against any defensive front. So, our guys, both sides of the ball, this is going to be the most well-coached, well-disciplined team we've played so far. We're all, I say we, but they're not always going to have the best athletes or athletic team on the field, but they're going to give you their best. They're going to be well-coached. They're going to be disciplined. They're going to play hard. And those teams like that are very, very hard to beat because they're not going to shoot themselves in the foot. They're not going to put themselves in bad situations. So we're going to have to play our best game this week from a standpoint of execution, getting lined up, making sure we know what we're supposed to do. Last week we had a very, very good job throwing the football, got over the top of them. That's not going to happen this week because of the way they play. Defensively, we're going to have to make sure we're gap sound, that we get there, and we've got to make tackles. Last week, one of the hardest things to watch was we got lined up, we got to the play, and we just didn't finish it. We didn't finish the tackle, and we're going to have to make sure we do that this week, or it's going to be a long, long, long night.
Right. And there's a lot of, those storylines, you going back to Petal, down there where you served, you said 14 years, and Coach Seth McDonald, who's their defensive coordinator down there, he's a West Jones guy, all right, played quarterback, linebacker here several years ago, and just doing wonderful things with the defense down there at Petal. Those guys, like you said, they play hard, they play fast, they play physical. It's going to be, what do we need to do to be successful? What do you think we have to do to win that ball game?
Since I've been here, everybody gets tired of hearing the same thing, but that's what it is. You got the 6 things. We got to block and tackle, throw and catch, and kick and cover. But with that, the big thing that I've told the kids, we're going to have to play faster. We're not dragging around, but we're going to have to offensively get to the line quicker. We're going to have to get on our blocks faster. We're going to have to run our routes crisper. Caleb and Jay-Z are going to have to hit the holes harder. Tootie's reads are everything's going to have to speed up a little bit because of how fast and how aggressive they play. Defensively, we're going to have to get lined up quicker. We're going to have to make sure we're, have our gap responsibilities, our coverage responsibilities, and we have got to finish plays and tackling. And then, in the kicking game, we got to make sure we understand the situation. We've got to be more aware of a possible onside kick situation, a fake punt situation. I don't think they'll fake a punt on us because they've got an outstanding punter that he can boom it. I mean, he's already committed to state, and he's got a rocket for a leg. So we got to make sure we haven't faced a kicker like that all year, so he's going to hang it high. We got to make sure we get underneath it, make sure we catch it. If we fair catch it, we got to take care of the blocks downfield. Extra point, field goal, we got to make sure we're getting our heads inside. Good snap, good hold, good kick. On PAT block, field goal block, we got to make sure we're getting pressure in the gaps, but also making sure we're being responsible for fake field goals and stuff, because, like I said, I know how those guys teach and coach just the same as we do, but they do it very, very well. Those kids believe in it. They play hard, and that's going to be the little things we always talk about. Nothing's changed. It's the same things, but we're just going to have to do those things a whole lot better, speed up the process, play with a little bit more aggression, play with a little bit more pride. We got to bring a little bit more juice this week because, from here on out, it's a big game right down the road, a good program, and then we start district, and we start with George County and Terry, and then play Forest Hill, then a big one on Halloween against Hattiesburg, and then Jim Hill, and it starts the playoffs. So from here on out, it's got to be weekly. We got to get better and fine-tune what we're doing. If not, we're going to be disappointed at the end of the night.
Right. In a sense, this is the last game of the season because you start a new season next Friday. You start district play with George County, a big road game at George County. And as we referenced with Tootie earlier in the show, this is kind of a game that we've had circled on our schedule somewhat since we found out George County was going to be in our district after they knocked us out of the playoffs last year in the first round. Of course, they had Auburn quarterback Deuce Knight running the show over there. He's not there anymore. Kind of preview that George County game. We will not have a show next week because it's fall break, but kind of preview George County a little bit as well.
Then they have a new head coach also, Coach Causey. He's a former Delta State Fighting Ochre, just like me. He was there before I was. Great coach. I think he even coached Dr. Rogers when they were at St. Martin. Good guy, going to have those guys prepared. He was on staff there as their defensive coordinator. Going to look at totally different team or on offense. When they were spread with Deuce throwing it around and being a multiple spread team, they're more in the eye, more fixing to bunch it up, put it in your lap, trying to figure out who's going to play football or not that night. And so it's going to kind of be a different format of us, kind of back towards Northeast Jones type. They're fixing to come at you and get after it. I think with us, like you said, we had the non-district season. That's the first part of the season. We started district season. These are the ones that really, really count. All of them count because it's the next one, and we keep score. So they all count, and they're the most important ones. But this one for the playoffs is important because it's going to set the tone early to see if we get in the playoffs, if we host a game, or if we win the district. And so those kids play hard. One of our coaches does a good job of finding interesting facts, and I think George County is one of those teams we have a losing record overall against. He told me, and it's kind of not even close. And so I know back in the early 2000s stuff, it was some battles back and forth there when Coach Jones was there. Had some really good players there. It's going to kind of get back to that, and it goes back to history and pride. Those guys down there, down 63, they take a lot of pride in their football and in their teams, just like we do here, and that's why it's going to be such a good atmosphere down there. Their crowd is going to be a sea of maroon and gold. They're going to be getting after it. We travel really good. I'm excited to see how the green and gold is going to show up down there. I always like how you ask our players when you come out into the stadium and you see that. It's very, very cool. Over the course of my lifetime, getting to go to different college and pro games and having access to field level, and you look up and you see thousands of folks. That's cool, but the high school version of it is so much better because the smells are different. It's more compact. They're right on top of you. It's people that you know, and you know who they're cheering for. And so that's what's great about that situation next Friday is I know, starting off the district, when we come out for warm-ups, we're going to have a bunch of people already there. And then when we come back out to start the game, Cowbells is going to be getting after it. There's going to be a lot of green and gold there. It's going to be loud. It's going to be proud. Our band's going to be getting after it. Well, I'm excited about that. As coaches, that means a lot to us too. The crowd getting into the game, like when our defense has got the offense in a third down, we need the crowd and the band play. Everybody needs to be on their feet, and we do a pretty good job of that. We need to be better at that. we're on offense and we cheer, we're cheering for our guys. Understand when we do score and do something good, we need y'all to be bigger than any speaker could ever hold the volume of cheering and getting after it. And our kids feed off of that, fans feed off of that, and then that affects the other team tremendously. So I always appreciate that, the type of environment we're going into. They started out a little sluggish. They had a couple of losses, lost to South in a game that was a lot closer than what the score was, and then they beat Wayne County by a score late. They beat Stone County last week, so they're surging and they're kind of hitting their stride as they're in District 2. So it's going to be a great night. I'm excited for it. I'm excited how our kids are going to respond, how we're opening up in the district against a team that put us out last year. It's not the same team, but that was those guys, and some of those guys are still there, and then we got some bad blood that we got to get cleaned up between them.
That's right. Well, thank you, Coach Reynolds. And as a reminder, again, next week there will not be a coaches show. We will return on Thursday, October the 16th, as we prepare to take on in a home game here the Terry Bulldogs and Coach Chris Thickpen there from Terry, Mississippi. For head football coach, athletic director Corey Reynolds, I'm the voice of the Mustangs, Rich Gray. We thank you for joining us tonight on the West Jones Mustang Football Coaches Show, sponsored by Wayne Sanderson Farms and Hills In-House Jewelers. We encourage you to always remember that we are West Jones.